If you stop to think about the logic of Armageddon for even a second, the whole movie starts to crumble faster than a Texas-sized asteroid. Let's talk about the most glaring plot holes and nonsensical science in the 1998 classic, shall we? First off, why in the blue hell would you send a team of deep-core oil drillers into space instead of astronauts?
I don't know.
Instead of training astronauts to drill, they train drillers to go to space. That's like, instead of training accountants to survive in the wilderness, they train grizzly bears to file taxes. Apparently, it's easier to teach space travel, zero gravity, and nuclear bomb handling than it is to teach drilling. NASA finds the most elite drilling team on Earth and spends a shed-load of cash putting them through a grueling weeks-long crash course in astronaut training. Listen, is it not infinitely harder to kidnap a random roughneck, rocket him into the cosmic blender of death, train him to high-five asteroids while doing the Macarena in zero-G, stick the landing on a rock that's zooming around like a drunk bumper car, and make him pilot NASA's overcomplicated coffee maker, versus teaching a fancy astronaut how to go yeet on one giant honkin' lever attached to a drill? Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, space timey-wimey. Listen, drilling is a skill, and I'm sure it's not an easy job, but it doesn't require the G-force tolerance and atmospheric knowledge that NASA spends years drilling into pilots. These oil drillers go from roughnecks with zero space knowledge to shuttle pilots, engineers, and EVA specialists. In reality, astronaut training takes years. Physics, engineering, survival training, zero-G conditioning. But here it's basically, can you drill? Cool, here's a spacesuit. Don't touch anything important. Why does this movie treat the vacuum of space like a windy fart from an OAP on a cold day in January?
I don't know.
During the crashes and explosions on the asteroid, we're treated to these massive, gloriously billowing fireballs that look like someone just set off a dragon's birthday cake in zero gravity. Because nothing says realistic space action like watching shit burn in the cold, airless vacuum of space like it's the 4th of July on crack. Bro, we're in the vacuum of space. There's no oxygen. None. Zip. Zilch. The asteroid has all the atmosphere of a politician's promise. Are the explosions running on pure Hollywood physics? Is there secret space air hiding in the asteroid's pockets? I'm not asking for hard science here, but at least pretend the laws of physics didn't take the day off to grab popcorn and watch the show. Why is there so much sound in space?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh yeah, because nothing says realistic sci-fi, like a space shuttle roaring through the vacuum, like it's late for a drag race on the interstate. The engines are screaming, the asteroid debris is exploding with earth-shattering booms, and every single bullet fired goes bang, 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 like a malfunctioning arcade machine having an existential crisis. In reality, space is deader than a mime convention. It's so quiet you could hear a pin drop. If pins could drop in a place with literally zero air molecules to carry the vibration. Sound needs a medium, air, water, whatever, to wiggle through like a drunk guy trying to start a conga line. In space, nothing. No air, no conga line, no sound. Just cold, empty, soul-crushing silence. But Hollywood looked at that scientific fact and said, nah, our audience has the attention span of a goldfish on Red Bull, slap some epic explosions and a rousing score on it, or they'll walk out thinking they paid for a $20 nap. So instead, we get spaceships that sound like they're clearing their throat with afterburners, asteroids smashing into each other like they're in a demolition derby with subwoofers, and every door on a space station hissing open like it's dramatically sighing at how stupid this all is. Meanwhile, in actual space, if your ship blew up, you'd just see a pretty little silent fireball, and then nothing. Eternal quiet. The universe's polite way of saying, shh, adults are trying to exist in a vacuum over here. Why is gravity pretty much ignored in this movie?
I don't know.
Our heroes land on an asteroid the size of Texas, and suddenly it has the gravitational pull of a well-stocked Houston parking lot. The characters are casually strolling around, doing little hops, and driving the armadillo rovers like they're on rails. Forget floating gently or taking majestic slow-motion bounds like actual low gravity should demand. No. These guys are walking, with purpose, as if someone installed invisible moon boots with industrial-strength Velcro. The surface? Oh, it's not the dusty, cratered rock you'd expect from a cosmic potato. It's a jagged, spiky metal death world, straight out of a heavy metal album cover. One minute they're bouncing across it like it's a low-gravity trampoline park. The next they're crashing, flipping, and somehow not dying instantly. Gravity in this movie is basically drunk. It shows up when convenient, takes a smoke break during dramatic moments, and changes intensity depending on whatever shot looks coolest. And then there's Ben Affleck, living his best Fast and Furious zero-G drift fantasy. He's out here flooring it across the asteroid, dodging flying debris, outrunning nuclear explosions, and pulling handbrake turns like he's on the set of Tokyo Drift in space. With gravity that weak, one decent bump should send that rover yeeting itself and Ben into the cold void of space forever. Sharp turns? Please. The thing should be sliding in straight lines like a hockey puck on ice. Instead, it drifts like it's got racing slicks and a nitrous system. Real asteroids don't come with convenient flat rally tracks, stable Earth-like gravity, or drivable terrain. They come with, you will die horribly in 17 different ways. But Armageddon said, screw it. We're turning this rock into a demolition derby course with explosions, one-liners, and zero regard for orbital mechanics. Honestly, the movie doesn't ignore gravity. It looked gravity dead in the eye, flicked it off, and yelled, "Not today, you absolute bumbaclarts. We've got a world to save." Why did they need to drill that flipping nuclear bomb 800 feet down into the asteroid?
I don't know.
Ah, yes, the master plan in Armageddon. Because nothing says scientifically sound like drilling 800 feet into a Texas-sized asteroid and planting a nuke so it splits neatly in two like a cosmic watermelon at a 4th of July picnic. Let's do the math NASA apparently skipped while high on rocket fuel. You've got a rock the size of Texas barreling toward Earth. To split that bad boy and shove the two halves far enough apart to miss us, especially when they're already breathing down our necks, you'd need a bomb roughly several million times more powerful than anything humanity has ever built. But sure, let's just use the standard, we found it in the basement nuke. That'll do it. And the asteroid's gravity? Forget about it. This thing supposedly has enough mass to have insane structural integrity, yet one well-placed explosion is going to crack it like an egg and politely separate the pieces with perfect timing. In reality, a nuke would either leave a cute little crater and a better luck next time you toss buckets note, or shatter it into a trillion unpredictable chunks that still rain down on Earth like cosmic buckshot. Even if it did split cleanly, both halves would still be the size of, oh you know, Texas. Good luck dodging two planet killers instead of one. It's like trying to stop an 18-wheeler by shooting the driver and hoping the truck magically transforms into two cute little bicycles that swerve away harmlessly. Then there's the completely made-up zero barrier, that magical point of no return where if you don't bury the bomb deep enough, the whole plan fails, because apparently a surface nuke in space has zero kinetic push. Sure, right, okay. In the vacuum of space, a nuclear blast would still deliver a massive shove up the ass. But the movie needs dramatic tension, so let's invent some sci-fi deadline instead. The entire strategy is peak Armageddon, less rigorous astrophysics, and more Bruce Willis yells, everyone cheers, physics takes a piss break. Honestly, the plan isn't just bad. It's so bad it circles back around to beautiful. Why are the drilling rovers equipped with high-caliber machine guns?
I don't know.
Ah yes, the most logical piece of equipment ever strapped to a space drilling rover, high-caliber machine guns. Because when you're landing on a Texas-sized asteroid, have I mentioned this asteroid is around the size of Texas? With the gravitational pull of a wet paper towel, the one thing you absolutely need is the ability to unload hundreds of rounds per minute into asteroid debris. Sure, NASA, the official explanation is that the guns are there to clear debris. Right. Because nothing says efficient mission protocol like blasting away at dust and rocks with a machine gun on a space drill, like solving space rock problems by turning them into smaller space rocks with bullets. In zero gravity, where every ricochet will happily orbit your head forever. Brilliant. No, we all know the real reason those guns are mounted on the armadillo like it's a rejected Mad Max prop. So some poor bastard can have a full-on space psychosis meltdown and start blasting away like it's the asteroid's version of a drive-by. Nothing screams professional astronaut, quite like going full Rambo on a rock that doesn't even have an atmosphere to carry sound, while your teammates are screaming, "What the hell are you doing?" over the comms. It's not engineering. It's not science. It's pure cinematic foresight. We need a scene where someone loses their shit and shoots a machine gun in space. Quick, bolt some 50 cals to the rover and call it debris defense. Armageddon really said, why send a drill when you can send a tank with daddy issues and a machine gun? Why does it mention that during the launch, the characters are subjected to 9 Gs?
I don't know.
During the shuttle launch, our ragtag crew of oil drillers are casually experiencing 9 Gs like it's a mildly spicy roller coaster at Six Flags. In reality, actual space shuttles top out at around 3 to 4 Gs because NASA prefers its astronauts conscious and not painting the cockpit with their lunch. But in this movie, 9 full Gs, baby. That's fighter pilot pulling maneuvers territory. That's your eyeballs are trying to crawl into your brain territory. Untrained civilians like Chick, the guy who looks like he hasn't missed a beer in 20 years, and Rockhound, who was already halfway to crazy before liftoff, should be blacking out, puking, or quietly hemorrhaging through their buttholes. Instead, they're cracking jokes, bantering, making sarcastic comments like they're stuck in Houston traffic. At 9 Gs, your vision tunnels, your chest feels like an elephant is tap dancing on it, and breathing becomes an Olympic sport. These legends are just sitting there, yapping away as if gravity suddenly decided to take it easy because Bruce Willis is on board. The movie really looked at real-world launch physics and said, cute, but what if we crank it to 11 and give the civilians superhuman joke-telling endurance? It's not a launch sequence, it's a flex. These boys aren't just tough, they're 9 Gs of pure Texas badass tough. Honestly, at that point the asteroid should have just surrendered out of respect. Why do they have perfect, lag-free video and audio communication with Earth, while standing on a hunk of iron and rock, moving at 22,000 miles per hour, despite being blocked by the asteroid's own mass?
I don't know.
Ah, the wonders of Armageddon telecommunications, where NASA apparently invented interplanetary Wi-Fi that laughs in the face of basic physics. Our heroes are standing on a speeding hunk of iron and rock, the size of, you've guessed it, Texas, barreling through space at a cool 22,000 miles per hour. They're literally on the far side of the asteroid, with millions of tons of dense metal and rock blocking any straight-line path to Earth. In real life, your signal would be deader than Rockhound's career prospects. You'd get nothing but static, cosmic interference, and maybe a sad little no-service icon floating in your helmet. But not in this movie. Nope, they've got perfect, crystal-clear, lag-free video calls. HD quality, no buffering, no dropped packets. Aunt Edna back in Houston can see the sweat on Bruce Willis's brow in 4K while he dramatically stares at the camera like he's filming a reality show called Oil Riggers vs. Armageddon. They chat, banter, argue, and deliver heartfelt one-liners with the reliability of a Verizon commercial set in low Earth orbit. The asteroid's own mass, the insane relative speed, and Doppler shift that should turn their voices into demonic chipmunk gibberish? Ignored. Line of sight blockage by several trillion tons of space iron. Pfft, amateur hour. Armageddon took one look at radio wave propagation, orbital mechanics, and the inverse square law and said, hold my beer, we're doing FaceTime from the backside of doomsday. It's not communication, it's magic. Expensive, government-funded, Bruce Willis-approved magic. Why is the timeline in this movie more ridiculous than a cat with a sponge for a face?
I don't know.
Because NASA apparently runs on pure caffeine, duct tape, and Bruce Willis one-liners. Here's how it goes down in the movie. Day 1. Some bumble biscuit spots a Texas-sized asteroid heading straight for Earth. Day 2. Hey, let's nuke it. Day 3. Recruit a bunch of rowdy oil drillers who think space is what's between their teeth. Day 4. Train them. Day 5. Slap together 2 shuttles, stuff the civilians inside, and flog them into orbit like it's a last-minute Uber to doomsday. The entire plan, discovery brainstorming, recruiting untrained rednecks, training, building miracle drilling tech, and launching the most important mission in human history, happens in what feels like a long weekend. They're cracking jokes and arm wrestling while the countdown clock is basically screaming, we're all gonna die tomorrow. In reality, NASA needs 6 months just to decide what color the mission patches should be. A minor space mission takes years of planning, thousands of engineers having nervous breakdowns, endless simulations, budget fights, and at least 17 PowerPoint presentations about risk mitigation. But Armageddon? Nah. Years of planning, Thousands of engineers, testing, get stuffed, you jumped up wank weasels. We'll figure it out on the way up, fellas. Just bring your hard hats and a positive attitude. The movie looked at real-world mission timelines and said, cute, but what if we compress the entire Apollo program into a fever dream and added explosions? It's not a space mission. It's a montage with delusions of grandeur. Final truth. Armageddon isn't trying to be realistic. It's not even pretending. This classic runs on pure, uncut rule of cool, maximum explosions, cheap emotional manipulation, and Aerosmith screaming in the background like they're personally offended by physics. Scientifically accurate? Nope. Logically sound? Nope. Makes even the slightest bit of sense?
You must be out of your goddamn mind!
Ridiculously entertaining? Oh hell yes. The movie looked at real science, gave it a firm middle finger, and said, sorry you dick rings, we've got a world to save with drilling, daddy issues, and one-liners.
I've been drilling holes in the earth for 30 years, and I have never missed the depth that I have aimed for. And by God, I am not going to miss this one. I will make 800 feet.